Prince George's County mom is using her personal, painful journey of losing a loved one to help others heal and bring them light in their darkest moments. She created a business that embraces the bittersweet beauty of those precious moments. Joining us now to share more about comfort creation and peace pillows is founder Linda Mercer and Kathy Price. We welcome both of you to the show.
Yes.
I want to start with you, Linda. You created these pillows. Why?
As I went through the experience of me losing my son, the grief, the pain, the anger, the confusion, the depression portion, I just wanted to reach other mothers. You know, after I got to a place where I was in a calm state, I thought of an idea of how I can help other mothers, because I know the journey, and the journey can lead to so many other things. The depression can take you over. Some people will use drugs, alcohol, different things because you can't cope with the loss. So I created the peace pillows so that people can hug them.
Yes. And the peace pillows have the picture of your loved one and some just sayings, or biblical sayings, or what does it have on it?
So the sayings, I kind of get it off the energy of what you tell me your loss was. So as a person that lost a child, I know what it's like. So I kind of create the sayings off my mind.
Okay.
And it really touches, and I've gotten so many great stories and feedback of how did you know to choose that color, those words.
I want to bring in Kathy because you got one of these pillows. You said you lost 2 sons.
I lost 2 sons, 2 stray bullets, and just devastating. And I met her, I ordered pillows. They're such wonderful gifts, just not for sad occasions, but all occasions. But yes.
I see you hugging that pillow in loving memory of your sons. What does it mean to you to have that physical?
Well, this is her family on the pillow.
Oh, it's
I'm just holding it.
Oh, I see.
But my sons are here, Alonzo and Clayton.
Okay, those are the 2 that you lost.
These are the 2 sons that I lost.
What did it mean to you, though, to get a pillow? I would imagine it's a form of therapy.
Very much so, very much. When we were at a retreat in the Night of Remembrance, and Linda brought us pillows. That's how I met her, and our relationship has been ongoing. I've gotten so many pillows and
helping so many people. That's what that means.
Many people.
What does it mean to you to be able to do this for people? I keep saying the word therapy. I've said it already, but I'm sure it is for you as well. Cathartic to be able to help other people heal while you're healing yourself as well.
It helps me. I have some prayer warriors that keep me prayed up, but it really helps me. Actually, I just sent 18 pillows to Maine for the 18 victims in Maine.
Goodness.
So.
Unfortunately, the work is never done because this violence that's gripping our nation. How can folks purchase a pillow or get them? How can they become involved in this movement, I'll call it?
They can actually go on my website, which is peacepillow.org. They can email me at lm22@comfortdesign.net, or they could just pull me up on social media under Linda Mercer.
Okay.
I just left it with my name. I do run a comfort group where I do, coaching and counseling to other.
All right, now we are here with Beltway Radio, bringing you a new talk on Monday, and it's called Healing Talk. And we're going to be talking about the journeys of healing, and the journeys of healing could be under so many things. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Miss Linda Mercer. You will see me every Monday, if it's God's will, from 7 to 8 p.m. And we're going to be talking about healing in different areas. I want to say everything is not for everybody. Most people say write a book, and book writing just wasn't my thing. And I mean, you could write a book, but when you're talking about a book of somebody's life, can you ask them questions? So here on Beltway Radio, you all are able to ask me questions about the different journeys. We're going to talk about multiple journeys that life can throw you that can cause so many things. And when I say so many things, I see so many young people have checked out on life because of what they've been through. So let me be the first to tell you, I don't look like what I've been through, and I've been through some storms. And we're going to talk about the storms, and we're going to talk about the healing. One of my disclaimers, I want to say, I know everybody's not a believer, but I guarantee you that this message that I'm going to be bringing you every Monday is a message that someone can use. I definitely want you to like it. I definitely want you to share it with a friend, a loved one, or something like that. Please share the message. So just to give you a little bit about myself, I was born and raised in D.C. I felt like it came to a point where I didn't want to raise my children in D.C., which you just saw a video that they put up called City Under Siege. Not only is the city under siege in D.C., it's also in Maryland, it's in Virginia, it's all across the country right now. And I know I'm not the only one out there that felt like, take my children out of D.C., go raise them in a better area. In those better areas that we move into, things are happening there too. So things are all across the country. So it came a point where I lost my son. I lost my son on Mother's Day to a stray bullet. And that's one of the journeys that we're going to talk about in the pain of losing a loved one unexpected. My son was 20 years old at the time he was killed. Not only was he killed on Mother's Day, his birthday is the day after Christmas. Then on top of that, a lot of times the street talk, who took your loved one's life. The street talk says that it was one of his real good friends, which it was explained that he didn't mean to kill my son. The bullet was intended for somebody else, which we know a lot of times bullets can be intended for a target, but that's not the target they hit. So that's why it's going to be so important to talk about healing. We're going to talk about forgiveness. We're going to talk about anger that a lot of times you go through when you're losing a loved one. We're going to talk about family support, how a lot of times you need the support of your family around you to help you. And we're going to talk about some things that family can do to trigger you when you've lost a loved one, where you don't even want your family around you. You just want to be in a room to yourself, by yourself. So we're going to talk about how to get up out of that place. We're going to talk about what that dark place can do to you. So over the next couple of weeks, those Mondays, we're going to be learning a lot of how the death of a loved one, an unexpected death, can take so much control over your life where you just lose focus on life. You want to check out of life, and you just feel like you've lost everything. When that loved one was snatched away from you, everything in you, your breath, your life, your motivation, everything you had in you was snatched out of your life. But know this, your life still has to go on. A lot of times you could bring more on yourself. You can bring health issues, bring financial hardship on yourself when you go through this. So we're going to dig in deep. We're going to be talking about a lot over the next couple of weeks as we break down this thing about the city being under siege and us losing so many loved ones. But guess what? We're going to also talk about getting up from it. What can you do? In the light of my son's death, I created peace pillows. And when I say created peace pillows, from the day that my son passed away until now, and my son been gone now 20 years, I've always thought of how I can help other mothers because I saw what it did to me. And I don't want to see another mother have to experience going through what I went through, the pain of losing a loved one, but the pain of doing it by yourself. Because basically I did it by myself. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, my whole life journey has been a rough journey. A lot of you may not know, I was adopted at 3 days old. I was abused mentally, physically, sexually. But guess what? I can talk about it now. I can stand on it. And I want to pour into somebody else's life to give them strength. Want to talk about how sometimes when this happens within the family, the dark wedge that it breaks the family from being the family. I don't know if you all heard the song that was playing. I love that song. It's a song by John Legend. I better not say the title to it because I might get the title wrong. But that John Legend song speaks about family and family being together. And maybe I'll post it up in the comments later. And I'll just say in your quiet time, listen to that song because we've come a long way from how things used to be to how things is now, where you're basically, some people are scared to leave their homes. You can't sit out on the front porch. The kids can't play on the playground. It's different things that's going on. And we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about the portion of my life a lot of you all may not know. I had a heart for feeding the homeless. That's because I was almost there. I could have been, and it was at a young age when I was a child. I never really talked about that because guess what? As I held on to God and I, kept him first in my life, even in all the storms that I went through, everything that he took me through, he brought me through it. If he took me to it, he brought me through it. So, like I said, I know everybody's not a believer, but I could tell you, I am a believer. I'm going to share things with you, and I'm going to hope that you all can see the light in some of the things that it can help you. It can help you with the connection with your children. It can help you with your life. And first and foremost, loving yourself. You have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else. So I hope you all can see on display the peace pillows. The peace pillows have been a great tool. I can tell you, I've always did something to volunteer and give back to communities. But what I also did was I gave something, a tool that really helped people. And I could tell you now, since I started doing it more frequent than on occasions, it has become a trend that phone calls all day long. People need these pillows. People need these pillows. And one thing I could tell you, anytime you go through something, no matter what it is, the first thing you do, even if you're in a room by yourself, you take that pillow that's on your bed and you hug that pillow and you hold that pillow. And that's what these pillows have been doing. If you notice, if you've ever received one from me, I give a lot of them from, you're looking at something. Thank you. I give them from my heart. The pillows are majority donations. A high number of them are donations. God has kept me in a place where I've been able to financially sustain, being able to keep up my equipment, purchase equipment, things like that, and still donate the pillows all across the country. Even when I send the pillows out in mail orders, I don't charge a dime. So thank God for that blessing. So we're going to talk about the healing part. And let me just give you a part of what Comfort Creations, the vision and the focus for Comfort Creations. Comfort Creations is something that we believe everyone deserves support and understanding as they navigate the difficult journey of grief. The mission of Comfort Creations is to provide memorable keepsakes that are created through the compassion for individuals who have experienced loss, offering a range of services and resources to help and heal and find hope in the midst of their pain. Who has personally been devastated by the loss of a son, which I'm talking about myself, and committed to using my own experience in helping others feel seen, heard, and validated. My goal is to provide other ways to cope while you deal with the grief, combining traditional counseling, resources, and alternative therapies. We're going to talk about that part of counseling. We're going to talk about support groups versus therapy. We're going to talk about, the beginning of my journey, things that I experienced and things that happened with my kids, things that happened with, my husband that I was married to then, because this thing can take you by storm. So my mission and my goal and my vision is to reach every heart that I can reach, touch every heart that I can touch, and help you get to a place where you can heal. So again, while you're watching this, please do me a favor, like it, share it to other people so that they can chime in. I'm quite sure I have a story or a testimony that will help someone else. So again, like I said, my son was killed on Mother's Day. I had 3 children at the time that my son was killed. I used to work for Metro. I'm currently retired from Metro. At the time my son was killed, I was a bus operator. My son used to work at the Safeway on Georgia Avenue. And I'm going to tell you, please believe it when it says the Spirit speaks to you. Because I really believe and I really feel in my heart that I was prepared for my son's death, because God's word says he will give you no more than you could bear. We've always had a tradition in our family that we always went to an all-you-can-eat place on Mother's Day. This particular day, my son said he couldn't go because he had to work. I love flowers. Purple is my favorite color. This particular day, my son gave me a big, beautiful purple flower. I remember it like it was yesterday. My son kissed me in the hallway, and he said, "Ma, I see you later." We always had a thing in my family that we don't say bye, because bye is forever. We say see you later. Well, only that day to know later that seeing you later did not come that same day. Now, I'm going to take you back to the week before. I had pretty much just started with Metro. I hadn't even had maybe 5 years in when my son was killed. My son used to ride to work with me every day because I used to work out of Northern Bus Garage. My son used to work at the Safeway on Georgia Avenue. For that whole week, I kept having a funny feeling in my stomach. And it led me to pray all week long. I mean, it just kept leading me to praying because I was feeling funny. And I started going to church when I was 9 years old. And we'll talk about how that happened, and that journey being so rough for me, and which pushed me at the age of 9 to get into church. So let's speed it up. That week, I prayed all week. Mother's Day come. Later on that night, I had to go to bed early because I had to be to work very early. My husband, he would always, hang with his friends, hang on 58th. I always had a problem with that, but that was his thing. I mean, that's where his family was. So later on that night, I got this funny feeling in my stomach again. And this time, it led me to get down on my knees and pray. And if you understand God's word, God talks about positions when you pray. And positions kneeling and stretching your hand out is surrendering. And positions on kneeling and having your palms up is receiving. So I was kneeling and I was praying. And I said to God, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, but whatever it is, I need you to be there for me. That was my prayer that night. I called all my family members. My daughter, Denisha, had just got her driver's license, and, she helped me. I was always the neighborhood moms. I was Dukes. All the kids was at my house. So we would take all them to dinner with us. I'm praying. that she makes it on that beltway, because I just bought her a car, and I was nervous with her driving, so I know they were probably nervous. So I talked to my daughter. She said, I dropped the last child off. I'm on my way home. So I said, I'm still telling God, I don't know what this is. So I called my husband. He said, I'm up on 58th. I'm chilling with the fellas. Okay, he's fine. I didn't dial my son, because my son was one that always checked in. He wasn't, that street boy. They hang in Glenarden, round by the wreck, but he's always stayed close to home. When he called me, I didn't answer, but I called him back. And he said, well, Mom, right around the corner, I'll be in a little bit. So I just went to bed. I'm still just, with this feeling. So when I went to sleep, I was in a deep sleep. And normally I don't sleep deep, when everybody's not in the house. But at 2 o'clock in the morning, when somebody ring the doorbell, knocking on the door, everybody in Glenarden know you can't come in Duke's house late at night. That's not what we do, even my children. When my nephew knocked on the door and I just see my nephew, I already knew what it was. I knew something had happened to my son, because my son and his friends were together since they was 3 and 4, and they always hung together, and if you saw one, you saw all. And to see my nephew at the door by himself with the look on his face, I knew something had happened. I didn't wake my girls up. I went to the hospital. I got to the hospital. They told me my son was DOA when he came in, but they said you could see him. But they said we did try to still resuscitate him, so there would be a lot of blood. I didn't want to see my son, so I didn't go in the room to see him. I went to the hospital by myself. I've always, when the storms come, I always need to be by myself, because that's the time I need to talk to God. Now, the stories that I get was that he was dropped off, and no questions, no answers. He was just dropped off. Nothing from his friends till later on. Now, to hear the streets talk, it wasn't but a day when we already knew who was supposedly behind the trigger. So now we're going to talk about as a mother. This is where I want you to share this video with other mothers. I need another mother to hear that I will never tell you that it's going to be okay, but what I will tell you is that you can survive this, and you can cope with it, and you will find a place where you can be able to be comfortable and talk about your loved one like I can. Because for a long time, I couldn't. I couldn't talk about Dion. I would cry. Having 2 girls, having to leave the hospital, and I raised my children to be close. So having to leave the hospital to go tell 2 little girls that your brother has been murdered is rough. It's hard on us as parents, because now you have to deal with your own emotions. You have children that you need to deal with their emotions, and they're young kids. My son never had any kids, but I feel for you all that are mothers, that your son or daughter, life that was taken away, had young kids. And you have to go home and tell that young son or daughter that your mom or your dad is gone and they're never coming back. That's rough. Then you have family members, you have people that come over. Everybody wants to tell you, how to handle this, how to do this, what you need to do. But your first emotion is unbelief. You're sitting there in shock. And I know right now there's a mother and a father somewhere sitting in shock, as this city is so far under siege, where there's no respect for human life anymore. I know you hear my voice, and I know that I'm touching you, and I know you want to know, how can I get past this? Am I going to get past this? Well, I'm still telling you, yes, you will. It's not going to be easy. It took my son been gone now, I believe 18 years. Yes, he's been gone 18 years. It took me actually 16 years to get back to a little bit of a life of a normal life. And when I say a normal life, being able to do some of the things that I used to do before my son's life was cut short. I couldn't go to the grocery store because he was one. He would always, carry the bags, him and all his friends. I would call them. I never had to carry bags in the house. I couldn't do it. I listen. I'm not a worldly music type person, but I have a playlist of just of him. And I listened to a song, where I think it was the song from Fast and Furious. His friends hate to hear that song. I don't know the name of it. You know the name of it? I don't know the name of it, but they like to hear that song. And I have to listen to that every now and then. And then there's another song that says, "Where was I? What time was it?" I don't know who sing that either. But the favorite one that I listen to is Dear Mama. Because a lot of times us as parents, when we're losing our sons, it just seemed like, we had them daughters, but once them daughters move on to their own lives, the sons are the ones that was always so loving. They were a mama's boy. They still up under you. They close to you. They want to touch you. They want to steal. My son was 20 and he was still coming lay at the foot of my bed and he would sleep in my room. It was just those things that I miss. You got so much love from the boys like we, sometimes get from these grandkids. But with the confusion part of it, knowing my son, and he wasn't a troublemaker, I dealt with, is this a punishment from God? I dealt with all that, and I want to say, take the time to honor the great Dr. McGraw, because as I transitioned through my son's death, he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot of how to utilize scriptures, of how to meditate on the word, how to use the word and apply it, to my situation of my son, especially plenty of times I laid down on the floor and I scream out and, I would say, God, you said I'll cry for a night, but joy will come in the morning. I couldn't understand when my joy was coming. I definitely couldn't understand it then. I dealt with, the part of the Bible that says God is a jealous God, put no man before me. And I've always had this like closeness with my son, because with me being adopted, in this world, it was just basically before my daughters, it was just me and him. We all we had, we all we got. It was just me and him. So I dealt with that, wondering, was this a punishment from God? I had a dream some time ago about my son, getting killed. And I talked to my aunt about the dream, and she says, well, he's protected. Nothing would never happen. And then we had a cousin that get killed out back of her house, and that gave me a sense of calmness, because not happy that, the cousin, but just to hear her interpret a dream that said it would never happen. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. Life is not promised to any of us. And that comes to the part of us being parents and being, close to your children. A lot of times I didn't realize I was dealing with depression by myself, because I just wanted to stay in the room. I'm thinking I'm okay, but that was a part of depression, because I'm still in disbelief of my son's death. Knowing that it was friends out there with him, the night that it happened, when they come through the woods and they got the shooting, but my son was shot. For a minute, I felt some type of way because I felt like that night when it happened, his friends should have immediately knocked on the door. These were children that ate my food. I found out later, my son used to take food out the house to feed them because, God knows where their parents was. My son was a giver just like I am, and that's why, I'm doing the peace pillows and giving them. We just givers by nature from the heart. I feel for other people. So, through the confusion of my son's death, through the anger, through the guilt part, like as a mother, is it something else I could have did? When I got that phone call that I didn't answer and then I called him back, I pondered a long time to say, should I have told him come in the house? A lot of times us as parents, we just talk to our loved ones before their life was taken from them. Well, I could tell you now, it's nothing that as a mother, father, it's nothing you could have done. Because God says we all have a day, a time, and a number. He didn't say that we had to be old for that number to happen. He didn't say we had to be old for that time to come. He said that if we lean onto him and not our own understanding, that he would comfort us through those times. And I could really tell you, as I have sat back and I've given God back his words, I could truly say he has comforted me. He has truly been true to his word that says his prayers is yes and amen. And as I, pray on it, and I still have days. I still have my days. My son's birthday is the day after Christmas. So I still have that day. And Mother's Day will never be the same for me. But in honor of him, I always do something for other mothers that help other mothers. And that kind of keeps me, in a good space, in a good headspace for that day and not be depressed around other people. I know that there's somebody out there right now that you have turned away from everybody. You have turned away from your children. You've turned away from your husband. One of our segments, we're going to talk about the husband and how you deal with that, and especially sometimes us as mothers, a lot of times that husband is not the father to that child, and sometimes you feel like, they're just not doing enough. It's so many emotions that go through your head during this time that, can cause more strain on your life, because right now the emotions have taken over, the thoughts have taken over. So I know there's some mothers that experience that. I can say, it did draw a wedge between me and my husband at the time because he was not my son's father. It drew a wedge between me and his father because I felt like, he should have been there. We'll talk about, we'll go over that part where the retaliation part came in, where people wanted to retaliate. As a mother, there's no way that I will wish this on any other mother. So I could tell you right now, and if you feel like you've lost your loved one and you feel like, whoever took their life and people's telling you who took their life, and you feel like you want them to get back at them, or you don't care if they get back with them. That, to me, that's the cycle of what's going on right now with so many killings. It's more so the retaliation. The streets are talking, so-and-so did it, so y'all got to go get them. That's not it. That's not it. Especially when I am doing pillows and going back to the pillows, I'm connected with crime victims in D.C. I'm connected with crime victims in Maryland. I'm connected with crime victims in Louisiana. Till this day, I have done 283 pillows in the last 4 months. And I can tell you, out of that number, there's probably only 10 people that's over 30. all these pillows are young folks. Young folks. I'm doing pillows for moms that have lost both her kids. One in D.C., one son she lost, and before she could bury the son, she lost her daughter. You know, somewhere along the line, it has to stop. And it starts with us at home. You know, look at some of the pictures. Seeing a father that sat there and taught his son before he lost his life. That child is a little baby that's only going to have the memory of that father through this pillow that he will be able to keep for the rest of his life. Having a mother actually lost 3 children, and the picture you see now, that's my son, Dion. Is such a handsome little man and looked just like me. That was my twin. But, you know, to lose him and lose other family members, I can say, you know, like I said, I was adopted. So every last one of my siblings, we have all lost a child. These are the Christmas pillows that you see that are, you know, going to families' homes so that they have enough time to just hug on the pillow as they go through the holidays, because the holidays are the hardest times that we have to get through, that we don't want to be bothered. We prefer to be depressed during the holidays. And I'm here to tell you that if you tune in every Monday, we're going to break the chain of depression of us losing loved ones. Every Monday, I want to put something in you that's going to make you say, Tuesday, I'm going to get up and I'm going to try to do something different. I saw Miss Linda on there last night. I'm going to do, even down to doing our hair, because for a while, I didn't do my hair. I walked around with a grandma robe on. I had a job at that time that told me to take my time. Jobs are not telling you to take your time now. They telling you you got 3 days, you got 5 days, and you need to come back to work. We're going to talk about, I'm not going to do it today because that would be a long conversation of trying to talk about the different counseling sessions or even talking about the support groups. Because right now, I know there are men and women that have lost their children. You prefer to be in your room with the door shut, maybe watching TV, may not be watching TV, but that's where you prefer to be. And after you watch me and listen to me on Mondays, Tuesday, you're going to do something different. You're going to get your life back, and you're going to get your life back in honor of your loved one. Whatever discrepancies you had before that loved one passed away, because I know a lot of people deal with that. Man, we just had an argument. I didn't get to say bye. I didn't get to hug him or her. We're going to put all that away because that's not what God intended for us to be. God says he give you life and he give it to you for you to live it more abundantly. And more abundantly is you having peace in your life. And as long as you suffer with the loss of your loved one and not allow yourself to get up or not allow to open your ear to hear from somebody that's pouring into your life, you will stay where you are. It's time to get up. You have to get up. And guess what? I'm going to help you get up. You'll see in the future, you'll see where I'll have someone on here from crime victims. As I did pillows for them this year, they had their annual remembrance ceremony. If it was in Maryland, I would hope you all are, begin to come out to these ceremonies because there's a lot of money spent for crime victims in Maryland. I hope you all come out. I learned a lot of what crime victims in Maryland can offer you. There's a lot of resources out here that you all may not know about that's available to you. I also did the crime victims in D.C. I do have a connection with D.C. That I'll give you information for them that can help you. But you have to want the help. You have to make it your business to say, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to try. At least if you try. We're going to talk about counseling, why I never took counseling, how I am able to sit here and talk to you, because guess what? I love my son just as much as you all love your children. If you've lost a child, you know what it's like. I mean, for a long time, I would read my son's examiner's report. I would read his report over and over. I wanted to know, did he cry? Did he suffer? I even called the medical examiner. She said no. She said he took one bullet to his back that pierced his heart. He died instantly. So, no, he did not suffer. But I read that report for a long time. There's times when he first passed away, I thought about how when a mother have a baby, how the first thing they do when that baby come out of you, even before they clean it off, they bring the baby to you and you just hold it. I thought about, the times that I'm going to miss holding my son. No matter how old he got, I still held him till the day that my son was going to Duval High School. And he said, Mom, I'm in 11th grade. You got to stop coming up here kissing me. But I still, I still, that was my baby. So I still had to kiss him. But I had to give him his respect. He thought he was a man then. So I had to let him go and stop kissing him. But he got his kisses when he got home. But I want to say to you as mothers, fathers, please tune in. If you're listening to this, please share it with somebody. Have them tune in next week. We're going to talk about the strain and the stress that it brings on you when you lose a loved one and you don't have insurance. Fortunately for me, I had insurance on my son. We'll talk about that because right now, no disrespect to, these funeral homes out here, they are making a killing. They are truly making a killing. And if I could do it over, if I had to do it over, I would not do what I did. All the money I spent to make sure that my son was put away nice, he still could have been put away nice without me letting them be like a car salesman and sell me. If they say they had it and they say we offer it, I said put it on there because it wasn't about the money. It was about the same thing we do when they're born. We have a baby shower, we celebrate them. When he went home, I wanted to celebrate him, but it didn't have to be celebrated that way. And I know then if I paid $15,000 to put my son away nice, I can imagine what you all are the money you all are spending now to put your loved ones away. And that was another part of why I created, Peace Pillows. I do some obituaries, some, if it's a small number, I'll do them to help out with the cost. I do the flower arrangements, that will help out with the cost because now between the funeral homes and the churches, you're only allowed to be there possibly 1 hour. And 1 hour, and I'm going to pay $500-$600 for some flowers that, the money could have been spent on something else, like especially if there's kids. Put the money away in a trust fund. Put it away for them when they get older. Send them to counseling. Sometimes the insurance you don't have, but if you have the money there, do that for them. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. Actually, next week, I'm going to have one of my good girls on here. She's going to be bringing, let me get her information up. She's going to be bringing some stuff to you in reference to insurance. Her name is Altina Ellis with Pillar Essentials. And her number is 240-419-1697. She's going to be coming on here. She's going to talk about insurance that you could put on your loved ones. I mean, it's sad to say that there's no age limit to us losing these babies. Actually, tomorrow I will be over at Riverdale Elementary School. My heart goes out to those parents that lost those 2 kids. So I've created the pillows, and I would like to donate it to the school for the babies that was lost over there, 5 and 10. So as I'm creating these pillows, I'm going to ask you all to keep me in prayer, because that means I have to deal with a lot of death, and God always chooses us to give us the hardest assignment, and to me, I am so blessed to be able to do this and make so many people cry, but then also feel happy about the pillows that they have. But I also have to hear the stories with crime victims. One thing I've learned going through this journey is I never ask what happened. Only way I find out what happened with your loved one if you volunteer and tell me. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some trigger points so that you all can have a lesson on how to handle, just like a package where they say handle it with care. You all are going to learn as you watch me every Monday how to handle your family members. Certain things you don't say to them, certain things you don't say around them, certain things that triggers them and send them back into a mode that they just don't want to be bothered with anybody. You might think they nasty, you might think they crazy. You might have said so many things about them because they shell away from everybody. But it's some of the trigger points that make us do that. For me, I've kind of gotten past a lot of my trigger points. I still do have trigger points that will, send me in an emotional part of, why would a person do or say or act like this around me when this is my time to, reflect on the life of my son. And that's more so around the holidays. There's certain things I don't want people to say to me. And I know there's others that's like me. So definitely you all, please make sure by next week you tune in. I'll give you my website. Christmas time is one of the times that's hardest for people. We have the Christmas pillows that we have up. I would say this is a awesome gift that you could give to somebody around this time that will capture their heart. And I guarantee you they're going to cry, but they're going to be tears of joy because of this unique gift that you gave them. So you could check out peacepillows.org. You can go on there and go to the gallery and you can see some of the backgrounds. There are actually over 637 backgrounds. The words are all on the pillows that's led by the spirit of me, feeling what happened. The plaques, my plaque kind of fell down. So we do have the plaques that we can do. Definitely the pillows are a hit. A lot of people now are beginning to order the blankets because they want to be covered with their loved ones. I want you to be more sensitive to your family members that have lost loved ones, and we having so many at this time. So I would thank you all for tuning in. This was my first one this week, but you will see me back on next week, and I will be bringing a guest in with me to talk about, life insurance for people because you definitely need it. So as we step off, I would say peace and love, and my heart goes out to anyone that has lost a loved one, and I will keep you in my prayer.